All right, guys. A few of the students have started joining, and I'm sure that it is not going to be wise from my end to make you guys wait further. Let's get on with this particular session, and as and when they are joining, let them attend from there. So it will take for us another 5-10 minutes to actually get into the concept. So the initial part is going to be basics, of course. All right. So I'm sure that you guys would have heard of this topic and understanding with the display on your screen right now. What we are actually going to talk about is going to be front-end developer. So how is a person going to become a front-end developer? So this is the entire idea of the workshop over here, right? So before I continue with the workshop, for me to better understand the level of you guys, so because I don't want to get into advanced coding if not all of you guys are comfortable with coding. If you guys are comfortable with coding, so that I can modulate my entire session accordingly, I have a question which is actually being launched to you guys right now. So the question is, do you know coding? So if you're someone who's new to coding, go with the first option. If you know the basics, go with the second option. If you are somewhere in the intermediate level, then go for the third. And if you're an expert, go for the fourth option. Make sure that all of you guys are actually filling this particular option. The reason being that only if I know with what kind of audience that I'm actually teaching over here, I will have a better understanding about making sure that you guys are understanding what I'm actually going to teach to you guys today. All right. So we have around like 60% of you guys who have answered. I request the remaining students as well to actually answer the question. If you guys could do that. All right, 66% is done. I'm still waiting for the remaining 40%, 30% of you guys to actually do that. Because if all of you guys, the majority is actually someone who knows the basics or someone who is in the expert level, so I can better modulate my entire session according to your needs. All right, so we have again, as I'm saying, there is 75% of you guys who have answered. 75% is done, guys. So people who have not answered it, can you guys please answer it? It's a huge chunk of you guys who have not answered it. That's the reason why I'm actually stressing on it again. Just pick one of that option. If you do not know coding at all, then you can actually go with the first option. If you're someone who knows the basics, then go for the second option. All right, I already have some questions which have been asked. Screen is not visible, is it? So the screen is not visible. There should be a question which is there on your screen. If are you able to see that? All right, so I guess so many people have not answered the question, so I'll just close this question over here. I'll also discuss about the data which is actually being shared with me. So what I actually see is, approximately 30% of you guys who are saying that you do not know coding. We have around 45% of you guys who say that you know the basics of coding. Around 25% of you guys say that you are in the intermediate level, and there is 1% of you guys who have mentioned that you are an advanced coder. You know very well about coding. All right, so we before we start the session itself, there are people who are asking question which is related to the web designing part, UI and UX part. Of course, yes, we will discuss about that in the later end of the session, sir, definitely, for sure. All right, okay, let's get started with the today's session, guys. So the idea behind today's webinar or this workshop is right, if you're not able to see anything, can you just log out and log in again, so that you can definitely see it. I guess there should be some network issue that you are facing. All right, then. So let's get on with this. So the idea behind today's session, as I'm saying, is we are teaching you guys how to actually become a front-end developer. All right. The reason being that, are you able to see the screen now? Are you able to see the screen now? So you should actually be able to see the logo, plus there should be the topic that we're going to discuss about. All right, perfect, guys. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Right. Now I guess it should be audible as well. All right then, great guys, great. So let's get on with this. Okay, so the idea behind today's session is actually to make sure that you guys know how to become a front-end developer and what is the importance of becoming a front-end developer over here. All right, so let's see that step by step. So what we're actually going to talk about is going to be, first, let's talk about some basics. Why should someone become a front-end developer? And later on, what and all are the technologies and tools someone has to know to become a front-end developer? Later on, we'll also take some sample projects and some examples we'll be discussing about it. And then after that, we'll talk about the career opportunities. So this is going to be the idea of this entire session over here. So let's start with this particular part. Now, if someone is going to actually become a front-end developer, a front-end developer is someone who's actually be able to build the client-facing side of a website. All right, so someone who can actually build a website, the client facing side of a website, is actually called as a front end developer. So for that, I need to understand what are all different types of websites do I have. So a website is nothing but collection of web pages. All right, so there are two types over here. The first type is going to be static web page. So what is a static web page? A static web page is something which the content doesn't change based upon the person who's actually seeing that particular the web page. Or for example that I can actually give is going to be, let's say, your college website, for example. Your college website, even if you actually open the website and see, and even if I see it, it is going to remain exactly the same. The reason being that it is not designed to change based upon the person who's actually watching it. It is designed to make sure that it is being constant, which means the content is actually constant. Then comes the second type, which is a dynamic website or a dynamic web page. Example is going to be something like, for example, yes, of course, your social media platforms. Let's take your Facebook for an example, right? So what happens over there, if let's say you open Facebook, what you see on your wall and what I see on my wall is going to be completely different. Do you understand? So based upon the person who's actually seeing that, the content is actually getting changed over here. So I'm repeating this point for you guys. There are two types of websites. One is going to be static and the other one is dynamic. Static is where content is going to be same for everyone, and dynamic is where content is going to change based upon the person who's watching that content. All right, now understanding these types of websites, how do we build it? Let's see that particular part. So there are multiple layers involved in building a particular website. All right, so this is what you actually see on your screen. There are three different layers involved over here. The first is going to be the front end layer, second is going to be the back end layer, and the third is going to be the database layer. So let's see them one by one. What is front end? Front end is nothing but whatever you see on your screen. Example, let me take the same Facebook as an example over here, right? Let's take Facebook as an example. Whatever you see on the Facebook web application, let's say you open Facebook on your laptop or your desktop, whatever you see over there, that is front end. All the images, the text, the designs, the logos, the icons, the way the different colors are being arranged over there, every single thing comes under front end. So the types of tools, languages that actually people use is going to be HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We have Bootstrap, we have Angular, we have React, and all these kind of frameworks and all these kind of languages as well. Let's come to the backend. What does backend do? Backend is kind of like the working engine of a dynamic application or a dynamic website. All right, let's take Facebook again as an example over here. Let's say you are posting a particular comment or you are actually uploading your status in Facebook. Okay, so what happens is that everyone who's your friend is getting notified about your status. When I say everyone is getting notified about your status, there is a trigger which is actually getting generated, which actually says that whoever is person X friend, every single person should actually know that person X has actually uploaded a status over here, or updated a status, or uploaded a particular content in Facebook. This particular trigger is actually done using the backend part. At the same time, even if let's say you are actually using Facebook over here, if let's say you comment on someone's status or someone's picture, right, all your friends also get to know that you have commented that, right? So this is an algorithm that Facebook has designed so that there is something happening, some kind of interactions and some sort of networking happening over there. That is the backend. Now, what is database? So backend languages again. So backend languages are going to be languages like Python, PHP, Java, JavaScript as well. And there are different other frameworks which they are actually going to do, which we will be discussing about that also. And then there is coming database. Database is going to be the place where all your informations are going to get stored. To be more specific, whatever is the image that you upload, all the videos that you upload, all your content, all your information, your sign in details, every single thing, everything is actually going to get stored on their database. At the same time, database is going to be that particular gel or gum that you're going to use to link front end and back end. Okay, this is going to be the three different layers. Someone who knows all these three layers are going to be called as full stack engineers. All right, so if you are going to build something like, let's say, your college website, you would need only front end. But if you want to build something like let's say your Facebook or Instagram page, something like that, you will be needing the other two layers as well. Today, we'll be discussing about the front end, and on our next sessions, we'll be talking about backend and database as well. All right, let's move ahead, guys. Now, you guys understood what are the different types of websites. You guys understood what and all are the different layers involved in web development. Let's talk about the front end languages and frameworks which are actually being used over here. Right? Let's start with this part. HTML and CSS. Okay. Now, before that, I have one question. I have one question to ask you guys. Uh, this is a question. I just want to ask you guys, do you know how to build a website on your own? Right? Do you know to build a website on your own? If you guys know that, then go ahead with yes. If you guys say you do not know how to do that, go ahead by saying no. Right? I request all of you guys to answer the question over here. Right, we have some 40% of you guys who have answered. I'm still waiting for the remaining set of students to answer. 60% of you guys who have answered over here. Great, guys, good going. You guys are going pretty fast. The remaining set of students, guys, if you guys could just give me an answer, since this is not yeah, since this is not a vocal question which I'm asking you guys, so it's just clicking one option. So if you guys could just click one option over here. All right, guys, I'll just stop that over there. So what I actually see is close to 70% of you guys have actually told you do not know how to build a website, and there are around 30 people of you guys who are told that you know how to build a website over here. So the meantime, we have someone who has actually sent a very interesting question, which actually says that we always have something like Wix and something like Wix, WordPress. Wix is Wix is something that this person has mentioned, but not only Wix, we also have multiple other platforms like Shopify. We have WordPress. We have a lot of different platforms. Of course, we definitely do have a lot of platforms. Here we will be actually talking about how to code and build it. But what happens in Wix and WordPress, for people who do not know what Wix and WordPress is, Wix and WordPress is a platform where you can just go drag and drop website the blogs and just build a website. So they already have a pre-designed templates. Of course, yes, they already have a predefined templates. You just have to assemble that particular blocks and get it done. So you do not have the independence of building something on your own. So here we are actually going to talk about you trying to be very creative and coming up with your own design and building that on your own. All right. Okay. So as I mentioned, 70% of you guys have told that you do not know how to build your own website, and around 30% of you guys have told that you know how to build a website. All right. So here, let's talk about the languages and frameworks used how to build a web for building a website over here. Anyone who's actually going to do the front end of a particular website, they should definitely for sure know HTML and CSS. There is no way a person can build a website without HTML and CSS. In a website, if there is a client facing site, it will definitely have HTML and CSS involved in it. At the same time, HTML and CSS is one of the most easiest language to actually learn. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, where that is a particular language you use to add content in a particular website. All right. Whereas CSS is something which you actually use to make a website look beautiful, or CSS is called Cascading Style Sheet. All right. So HTML is used to add content, and CSS is actually used to make a website look beautiful. Now, next one is actually called as Bootstrap. Now, there are languages and there are frameworks. I will first differentiate what these both are. Languages are something where you actually code something from scratch. Okay, from the basic, from the first line to the last line, you are actually coding something completely on your own. Framework is where you already have a particular library where all these codes are already stored. Okay, a particular function's code is already been stored. You just copy that code from that library and paste it on your particular line of codes. This is what framework is. So frameworks are designed to make someone's work easy. So if you're not able to understand what languages and frameworks are, I'll differentiate it again. Languages is where you do something completely on your own. Okay, you want to build a website, you do that completely on your own. Whereas framework is something where there is a particular library where all the codes are already been done. You just copy that particular code and you actually paste it on your code. Okay, so this is what framework does. So Bootstrap is, again, there is different versions of Bootstrap. There is the latest version is Bootstrap 5, which is not completely launched, but it is up and running right now. So Bootstrap 4 is actually doing a pretty good rounds outside. So Bootstrap is a framework where you use HTML as a language, HTML and CSS as a language over there. All right. Okay. uh, what happens when someone actually sends a question over here, it actually comes in the middle of my screen. So unless or otherwise you actually have a question, guys, please do not send any message over here, because it gets me diverted to that particular section. All right, next comes JavaScript. JavaScript is actually used to make a particular website interactive. Okay, when I say interactive, let's say you go to a website, you scroll down the website and you see different parts of that website. All of a sudden, let's say a form pops up. Okay, a form pops up and says, why don't you sign into this particular platform? That particular interaction, it is something which is calling you to do something. It is creating an interaction. The website is interacting with you. So that kind of functions are done using JavaScript. Or let's say you have a set of list and on your left side, and then there are set of graphs on your right side. Based upon the list that you actually select, the items that you select in that list, your graph should change. These kind of functionalities are actually done using JavaScript. So these are something. JavaScript is a particular language which has no relations with Java. Okay, JavaScript and Java are completely different languages. All right, completely different languages. So JavaScript is actually used to make people interact with that particular website. jQuery is a part of JavaScript. It's a part of JavaScript where you try to make the media queries very interesting and very understandable. All right, include media queries and other functionalities which increases the performance of a particular website. Let's not go very deep into jQuery over here, right? Let's not go very deep into it because it will be very confusing if you do not know the basics. All right, so we have some questions which are coming over here. Okay, and then there is AngularJS. Someone who knows JavaScript and jQuery, they can actually go for two frameworks. One framework is called AngularJS, and the other framework is called React.js. All right, one framework is called AngularJS, the other one is called React.js. So the crowd actually picks on their own. Some people are very comfortable with React, so they go with React. Some people are very comfortable with Angular, they go with Angular. So that's a framework. Simple. All the codes are already there in a particular library. You just copy that and paste it over here. That kind of work is what a framework does. Right, so you should know these particular languages, right? You should know these particular languages to become a front-end developer. All right, about this is what we're actually going to learn. It's completely fine, it's completely fine even if you do not know coding at all. All right, it's completely fine even if you do not know coding at all. What we will start with, step by step we'll understand each of these particular languages over here. All right, okay, if you want to know more info on Bootstrap, uh, we will be actually showing some Bootstrap codes at the later part, right? Will that be okay with you guys, or do you want me to explain that right now? Because we'll have to talk about classes and IDs and all those things. If I can give you guys an example, then will that be fine? Because right now, if I start explaining Bootstrap, I gave you the best explanation possible. Only if I no, not at the end. Bootstrap alone, we have a particular concept. There, you guys will definitely understand. So we have people like Naveen, Mr. Arvind, Ms. Priyadarshini. So all these people, of course, I'll definitely remember you guys. Make sure that I explain that particular part to you guys as well. All right. Okay. Let's move ahead. What you need to know, okay? Before that, I have one more question to you guys. I mean, don't think that I'm actually asking a lot of question. Please don't mind, guys. Just to actually understand where you guys are right now. So all these languages, right? All these languages over here, if you know basics of these languages, that is not enough. You should actually know very well. So I want to know the idea over here. So do you know front end development? So this, someone who knows this is called as a front end developer. All right, if you know all these languages, give yes. If you know basics of these languages, give basics. If you do not know majority of these languages, or maybe one or two of these languages or frameworks, give it as no. Okay, perfect guys. I got around 50% of you guys who have answered over here. I got 50% of you guys who have answered. Okay, 60% is done. Not sure why people are little lazy today. Maybe because of the heat outside, and also staying at home for the entire day. I'll wait for another 10 seconds, guys. If you guys could actually fill it up, I'll just wait for another 10 seconds time. So then after that, I will go with what is the data that I have over here. All right, then I'm actually closing this right now. We have around 70% of you guys who have actually given an answer over here. All right. So out of what I actually understood, so around 9% of you guys have told that you know front end development. Great, guys. Awesome. 63% of you guys have mentioned that you do not know many of the languages, or maybe all the languages or frameworks. So again, that's skeptical over here. And there are like 29% of you guys have mentioned that you know the basics over here. Great, that's perfectly fine, not a problem at all. So we are actually going to see things step by step. Okay, so what I need to know first, whenever someone is actually going to create a particular project, whenever someone is actually going to build a particular website, they definitely need to have a project file. So this is kind of like a check sheet which I have to make sure that you guys all have all these things. Second, I need to understand the structure of a HTML document. Third, we are going to talk about HTML elements. We'll talk about CSS functions. We'll talk about developer tool, and we'll talk about the basic shortcuts. We'll definitely see all these parts. First, let's start with the developer tool over here. All right, I'll start with the developer tool. So let me just open one website for you guys. So let me open, I'll open bootstrap.com. Okay. So there is a reason why I opened this particular platform right now. The reason that I opened it is Bootstrap is again a cloud-based platform. So we'll discuss about that. So you see this particular website. Someone who's actually a developer, right? Someone who's actually a developer will know something called as Google Chrome. When you right click, you will have a list which is getting popped up. On the last option will be something called as inspect. Okay, so over there, if you guys actually see it, you guys can actually, understand the code of that entire website, right? You see all the code that is actually given. So me being a developer, I actually like many of the features of a particular website. For example, one of my most favorite website is Dunzo, because coming from Bangalore and places, being in places like that, Dunzo actually provides one of the best websites. I don't know why I'm very much attracted towards this particular color and all the icons and all these things that they have actually used. All right. So if I need to build a website, something similar to this, if I have to understand the code, what I can do is I can just right click, I can get the codes over here on your this part on your left side of your screen. You can actually see the various codes that they have, the HTML codes over here, right? So the HTML codes, so they themselves have used Bootstrap only to actually build it. Okay, if you see very carefully, I mean, if since you guys do not know, that's okay, but I can actually see this and understand that they have actually used Bootstrap to build it. So on your left side of your screen, you can actually see the HTML code. On the right side of your screen, you can actually see the CSS code. Okay, so this is what a developer tool is. Now, once you're done with the developer tool, the same goes for Bootstrap, this particular website as well. I'm just closing this as of now. So you need a platform to actually code over here, right? You definitely need a platform. Okay, we have some questions which has popped up. Let's see those questions. Uh, uh, you cannot see the questions, ma'am. So people who are asking questions to me, only I get to see that. You cannot see those questions. So what you can actually do is on the bottom, if you're watching from your mobile phone, on the bottom section, there should be multiple options where there you have something called as questions. From there, you can actually ask questions. Or if you're using a desktop, then go to your go to your right side. There should be a floating box over there. Okay, now so I have this Bootstrap website. So you need a particular text editor to actually do the coding. So people who do not know what a text editor is something where you actually do all the coding. So I use something called as VS Code. Okay, so I use something called as VS Code. It is a free software which you can actually download from the internet. It is by Microsoft itself. All right, it is actually by Microsoft. So see this, it is actually by Microsoft. So it's a free version. So depending upon which particular system and operating system that you have, you can actually download it. It is completely free. I, on the other hand, have already got it installed. So let me just open my text editor. So this is going to be Visual Studio Code. Okay, this is Visual Studio Code for you guys. All right, it is going to look something like this. It's dark, it is good, and it has a very good interface. So on your left side, this particular part will have all your files which are opened. On this particular end will have all your codes which you have. You can open multiple tabs. All right, so I what I'm going to do is, first, before you start coding, uh, okay, before you start coding, you need to actually have a particular folder. So for now, I'm actually having this particular folder, sample. Inside this particular folder, I'm actually going to have all my all my informations regarding this particular website. So what I will do is I'll open this particular folder. So what I can do is just go to file, open folder. I'll click open folder. So you have sample. I'll select that folder, and done. It is opened. All right, it is opened. It is fast. It runs actually very fast. Now what did we see till now? We actually spoke about the developer tool. We spoke about the project file. Now let's talk about the structure of a document over here. Let's talk about the structure of a HTML document. All right. So going to the structure of a HTML document, for people who do not know HTML over here, so a HTML will have multiple sections in there or multiple portions in their particular code. So what you can actually do is, first you declare a doc type. So right now doc type, let's keep it like this, doc type HTML. After that, I'm going to open HTML. All right, so I'll just make this a little big so that you guys can see this. Okay, so is this visible now? Are you guys able to read all the lines that I'm actually writing over here from your phone? All right, great guys, enough. Okay, got it guys, got it. Enough guys. Okay, so how you actually define a particular HTML is going to be, first declare a doc type. So doc type is actually going to do like this. So I'll start it from first again. So whenever you're actually going to write a particular line, you always start with less than symbol. Okay, you start with this less than symbol. This particular text editor automatically recommends what and all are going to be the different codes, or what and all are going to be different options that you actually have. So I have doc type, I did that, enter. Next again, I'm actually going to open an HTML tag. Okay, I'll open a HTML tag, and I will close it. Automatically another tag is also getting closed. So this is the opening tag and this is the closing tag. All right, a closing tag will have a forward facing slash, whereas this opening tag will not have those. Inside my HTML file, there are going to be two parts. One is going to be head. Okay, one is going to be head, HEAD, which will have an opening tag and a closing tag, and the other one is going to be body. Okay, which will again have a opening tag and a closing tag. Now what is the difference between head and body? Okay, the difference between head and body over here is going to be something like this. Whatever you code inside head will not be actually visible in a particular website, right? It will not be visible in a website. It is actually for the server to actually read and get some set of instructions. Right, now you will better understand about that. We will, because we will be coding those as well over here. And whatever you see in body are going to be all the things that you actually get to see in a website. All right, now let's go to the PPT again. This is done. HTML elements is there, which we have it in the next PPT. And CSS functions, we'll talk about that as well, and developer tool and basic shortcuts. If you find it very difficult to remember this particular code, so what you can actually do is you can open with exclamatory mark and then press tab. Automatically it actually opens. So you see this meta and title and all these things, do not worry about it, let it be there, because we will need all those things on a later part of it. Okay, so to actually see how my website is going to look, what I can do is I can right click, I can have this open with live server. I'll click that, and automatically my website will actually open. All right, this is my website as of now. I don't have anything actually being coded over here. We will code that. uh a boilerplate, I'm not sure, but yeah, it might be little similar. Okay, someone told they're not able to understand. Which part did you not understand, sir? You want me to explain the entire structure of HTML, is it? All right, I'll do that. Okay. So HTML document is actually going to have, first there is going to be a doc type. Okay. There is going to be, right now, let me not do it with the doc type. I'll just do my HTML over here, right? HTML. This is going to be an opening tag and then closing tag. And inside my HTML, there are going to be two sections. One is going to be my head and the other one is going to be my body. Okay, the other one is going to be my body. Whatever I code inside my head will not be actually visible in my website, whereas whatever I code inside my body, will all those things will be visible in a website. All right, so if you want to know a shortcut to actually just open this entire structure soon, what you can do is exclamatory mark and tab, the structure opens. This is the structure. So the same structure, I actually have this live streamed over here. So this is my document. So the title is where you actually name your particular document. All right. So what I'm actually going to do is I'll write it as Kiran website. Okay, Kiran website. So Kiran website, once after that, if you guys go this particular tab which is there on the top, there it is actually written Kiran website. So this particular web page's name is Kiran website. Okay. uh, it runs on your own computer's server only. It doesn't require a separate server. As in, if you actually go and Google search right now, you will not get it. See over here, what you actually see, this is actually running on my own computer's this thing server IP only. So it will not require any other server, additional server over here. Okay. First, let's talk about headings. So when I open my tag, I will have to do headings over here. Heading is by far one of the most important part in a particular website, because you will definitely have to assign headings in a particular order and fashion. All right. So there are multiple headings. There is from H1 to H6. Each heading have their own powers and they have their own hierarchy. Powers, as in what I'm talking about, the importance. H1 is the most important heading. So this is H1. I'll write it as Kiran. Okay. So there is H2. So I'll write it as Kiran. There is H3. I'll write it as Kiran again. I mean, just writing some names over here. Just don't mind if I'm just writing my own name. I'll write Kiran so that you guys understand how each of these look. I'll write H5. And then you have H6. Okay. Now if I go here and if I open it, see, this is H1. I have zoomed the website, guys. So this is not the exact size. This is going to be the exact size. All right. So this is H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6. H1 is going to be the most important heading of that particular website, where it is going to be written big and block. H2 is going to be the second most important, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth most important heading. So there is nothing less than H6. All right. So this is with respect to headings. So whenever you need a particular heading, you will have to write it accordingly. Okay. Let's go to the next part. After that, there is going to be something called as paragraph. Paragraph, you use something called as P. All right. Paragraph P, heading H. It's easy to remember. P, you close it. So for many people who actually use dummy text, you can actually use lorem. There's something called as lorem, and if you just press 100 and then tap, automatically 100 texts come over here. So these are going to be some gibberish content, which is just going to give you a feel as if the website has some content, rather than me typing contents then and there. This is going to give me a feeling that there is already contents over here. So if I go to my website and see my content is already here. My content is already here. So I'm just, let me zoom this a bit. My paragraphs is actually here over here. Okay. So that P is actually for paragraphs. Then let me go for images. If I go for images, what I can do is I'll open img, okay, img, and then there is going to be source. I need to declare from where I'm actually going to fetch my particular image. Minded guys, that particular image is supposed to be there inside your web folder only. That particular folder that you're using, it should be there inside that folder only. So opening a forward facing slash, you select which image. So right now I have only one image. I'll open this and I'll close it. Okay, I'll close it and I'll go over here. All right, so the image is here. This is the image also. So that is how you do image. And then you have links. Let me tell you guys how to do links. So just explaining some basic elements over here. After that, we'll try to build something. Link is actually mentioned as anchor. Okay, anchor, where it is actually fixed to something. All right, so anchor A. After that, I need to give my hyper reference, right? href. Href right now, let me just give it as what do I give? I'll give some hashtag, some website right now. Let me just give it something like this. Just give it a pound symbol over here, and then I'll just close it. I'll close it. I'll give it as click here. Okay, I get as click here. So if I go over here and I see there is a link, right? When I go on top of it, it is actually getting clicked. So whenever I want to give whatever is the location that you want to give, for example, you want to give Facebook over here, and just give it as www.facebook.com. Okay, I gave facebook.com over here. I'll go over here, I'll click this. Facebook should open. All right, so I have not linked this to my internet over here, guys. So I'm just working on my server. So I don't have internet over here, so please don't mind. So whatever is the link that you actually want to give, you can actually give that link over here, or simple, just copy that particular URL and paste it over here, right? Copy that URL and paste it over here. It'll automatically work. All right. So after that, what do we have? We have containers. So containers is actually mentioned using something called as div. Okay, so wherever I mention something called as div, okay, I'll mention div over here, mention this div. So this content, whatever I mention inside that, okay, hi, my name is Kiran Sharma. I hope all of you guys are fine. Okay, whatever I mention inside this particular container is actually going this div, right? Whatever I mention inside this particular div is going to be considered as a particular box. Okay, so this is what div is. So wherever I want to open a particular box, or wherever I want to okay, what is the question? Okay, so yeah, so wherever I want to just open a particular website, wherever I want to actually open a particular box or a section, I use something called as div. All right, so let me come to my next important part. There is something called as class and ID. Okay, there is something called as class and ID. So before we come to that, let me just build something for you guys and show. So I'll try to create a sample website kind of a thing. So first I'll open one h1. I'll open one h1 over here. So I'll write it as what do I'll just write it as resume, right? Inside that, after that, I'm going to give I'll set an image over here. I'll give an image. I'm going to give my source. So source, I'll have to mention from where I want to pick that. I picked that, I closed it. So below that, I'm going to give my h2. So h2, I'll write my email ID. I'll write it as abc@gmail.com. Again, I'll give another h2. Okay, so I can give h3 as well. Right now I'm just giving h2. So this is as simple as it is. So H2, I'll give my contact number. So it is going to be +91. There are 5 9s over here and 5 9s over here. Done. Okay. So this is done. So when I save this and I go and see, it is there. Okay. Now we are not started to make this particular website look beautiful. That's okay, but I'll show you guys how to actually do that. We have few questions popping up. We are closing. Not all the tags will actually have a closing tag, sir. Will not all the tags will have a closing tag. What is the difference between para and div? Para is a particular element to add content. Okay, paragraph means P is something where you actually add content, whereas div is a box. Inside that box you can actually put anything that you want. Inside paragraph you can actually put only text, whereas div is a particular box where you can actually add anything. You can put image inside that, you can put anything that you want inside that. Okay, image tag. Okay, see, image over here doesn't have a closing tag because it is a particular instruction of inserting an image over here. So this will not have a closing tag. Okay, so this will not have a closing tag over here. So this particular image will have only this particular option, this entire section that you have over here. It will not have a closing tag. Not all the sections will be like this. There will be few some exceptions like what you actually see over here, right? Lorem might not. Lorem is this particular option. I'm not sure about Notepad plus plus, but normal Notepad, so it will not work. I have not used Notepad plus plus. So Lorem, you can actually just get it from websites as well. Just go and I'll Google search Lorem over here. You get it. Lorem. Lorem ipsum generator. So this entire page is actually full of random content. You can actually go and download it from there itself. That's okay. Okay. Now coming back to the part over here, guys. Tell me if I'm actually going fast for you guys. In the meantime, let me ask this question, you guys. Should I slow down or should I go fast, or should I just maintain the speed? Yes, CSS is actually going to come. There are few people who are actually saying go fast. I don't mind going fast. At the same time, there are a lot of people who are actually saying that to maintain this particular speed. Okay, so I am actually going to maintain the speed, guys, because considering the majority requirement over here. So fast and then bootstrap slow. Okay, I'll do that, not a problem. Okay, so right now let me just move to my fourth gear if possible. Right, so this is going to be how it is going to look. Okay, now after that, let's say I want to add a particular paragraph, so I'll give a heading. I'll like about Kiran. I'll give something like this. So I don't want you guys to be paranoid with the Kiran and all these things. So I'll give Lorem. I'll say I want to write around 75 words, right? I press tab and there are 75 words which have come. Okay, there is this content. Now I guess this should be enough for me as of now, right? This should be enough for me because you can go ahead build an entire website. That's okay. Now HTML, this is the work. Okay, so I'll add one more part. Okay, I'll add one more part. I'll just copy this and I will paste it over here. Okay, so I have given two such informations over here, so you guys will understand why I've actually given that. About Kiran, I'll talk about more info. I'll just write more info over here, right? So this is what you actually have. Okay, now I am actually going to use CSS to make this particular website comparatively much more beautiful than what we have right now. It is not beautiful right now, or what I'm actually going to do also is not going to make it very beautiful, but I'll try to make it better. So what I'm actually going to do is going to make this particular Let me try to change few things over here. I'll say how interesting and how easy it is to actually change it. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to move this resume, this particular part, to, let's say, somewhere at this particular area. Okay. I want to move it over here and I want to change the color resume to red. Okay. This is what I want to do. So what I will do is my resume over here is a H1 tag. I know many of you guys are thinking I'm actually making a fatal mistake. Do not worry. I'm doing that purposefully. Okay, I'm doing that purposefully. So first I'll say how to actually create it. So whichever is that particular element where you want to make a change, you will call that element, which is H1, right? You open curly braces and close curly braces. Inside that, I'll mention color. I want to make it red, right? So there is red, okay. And then after that, my margin towards my left side. So left, margin left, okay. Margin left, I'll give it as 1000 pixel, okay. I'll give it as 1000 pixel. If I go and see, nothing has changed. If I go and see, nothing has changed. The reason being that my HTML and CSS documents are not connected to each other, right? Many people guessed it, perfect. My HTML and CSS documents are not connected to each other. So this is what I'm actually going to do right now. I'm going to connect these two documents. So I am going to link them. So what I'll do is I'll open this bracket, right? My HTML, my lesser than bracket. So I'll call something called as link. I'll select link. When I'm going to connect my CSS document over here, when I'm going to link something, I need to tell the website or tell my particular HTML document what am I actually going to link over here. So for me to actually mention what I'm actually going to link over here, what I need to do is first declare a particular relationship. What kind of relationship am I actually going to do it? So the relationship between my HTML document and the document where I'm actually going to connect, that is going to be a sheet which is going to add style to my website. So it is going to be called as style sheet. Okay, it is going to be called as style sheet. Next, I need to declare type. Okay, I need to declare type. Oh, okay, yeah. So my type is going to be text bar CSS. So it's a CSS document. Okay, then after that I'll have to call, I'll have to declare from where am I actually going to fetch this particular document. So there is forward facing slash style.css, close, done. Go over here, see, okay, it moved too much. So maybe if I come over here, if this 1000 I make it as let's say 700. Okay, it is moved over here. If let's say I want to make this particular resume little bigger, this H1 is not big enough for me, I want to make it even more bigger. So I'll call it as font size. I'll select font size. There are already mentioned some options like large, larger, medium, small, smaller, X larger. I can pick whatever I want. Let me just pick X larger over here. I'll go, it is actually reducing. So rather what I'll do is I'll just mention a particular size. I'll call it as, let's say, 50 pixel. Okay, I'll mention 50 pixel. Go over here. See, it just got bigger, right? It just got bigger. So just like that, you can add style to your particular website. Now, if let's say I want to make change in this particular image, a few questions have popped up. Let me see. There is no attendance form. Don't worry. Okay. All right. So let's say I want to make this particular image go a little smaller. So what I'll do over here, I'll go inside my CSS file. I'll call my image, which is img, right? I'll open my brackets, right? I'll declare a maximum width and a maximum height. So I'll call my max width. My max width would be, let's say, 100 pixel. Okay. And based upon my width, I want my height to get adjusted. So I'll call max height, my max height to be automatically fixed. Automatically fixed. So I'll go there. See, the image actually changed. So maybe not 100. I'll call it as 300. It was the same image. So if I want to make it as 200, okay, this image actually got smaller, right? The image actually got smaller. So these kind of changes you can actually do using CSS over here. All right, now let's talk about the main elephant in the room. Let's talk about classes and ID. First, let's understand what these both are. Let's understand what is a class and what is an ID over here. So I have a small section over here. So let me just open that. Okay, so this is the differentiation. A class and an ID, at many places they actually serve the same purpose, but they have a lot of differentiation. Okay, so first let me explain how class and ID works. Now for example, okay, for example, I want to actually make this particular paragraph. Okay, this particular paragraph I want it to be bigger. Okay, I want the font size to be big, and I want this paragraph, the second paragraph over here, that should remain exactly the same. Okay, so how do I do that? I'll go inside my C, right? I'll go inside my style. I'll call my paragraph P. I'll open my brackets. I'll give font size. Okay, font size, let's say I'll give for 25 pixel. Remember, I want only my first paragraph size to increase. I don't want my second paragraph size to increase at all. I want it to remain exactly the same. But here both my paragraph size changed, because as a general I called paragraphs, because see there are two paragraphs piece over here, right? There are two p's. There is one p over here and there is another one over here. I called both of them. So I need to specifically call this particular function, right? For that I will declare something called as class. So inside the bracket of the first element, I'll call class, and I'll just mention that as, let's say I'll call it ABC. Okay, I'll call this class. So inside style, if I go, rather than calling P, I'll start with the full stop and then call ABC. Remember guys, it is actually case sensitive, as in like if it is greater than, I mean if it is uppercase or lowercase, that is also sensitive over here. All right, I'm going to save this. Now if I go, only my first paragraph changed. Okay, only my first paragraph changed. The same applies if I am actually going to declare, if let's say I want to make this particular paragraph red and or green in color, for example, how I'm going to do that? Using ID. So I'll mention ID, right? Same way ID. uh, I'll call it as QWE. I'll save it. I'll go over here. I'll start ID with a pound symbol, right? That is this hashtag. So QWE. So I'll just call it as color. Color was green, right? Green. Save. Now this color changed. If you see carefully, this color changed. Now you might understand, you might ask me, then why is class and ID, why is it actually being different over here? This is where I'm actually going to give you guys a differentiation. Now class, I can use it multiple times. Okay, I can call this class, I can connect this particular class with my header. I can connect this class with my head h2, my image, my other headings, wherever I want. I can use it multiple times. The same class ABC, I can use it multiple times. But this thing, whereas my ID, I can use it only once in a particular web page, which means if I had used my ID QWE over here, I cannot reuse it. I can only use it once. I cannot use it more than that. Okay, this is one difference. Second difference is class is considered to be one of the most commonly used in HTML and CSS. Any developer, they use class because class can be used more number of times, right? A single class can actually be used multiple times and more number of times. Because of that, developers actually use class a lot. ID, people try to avoid using ID, because if I start using ID, my number of lines that I write in a code will increase. So that's why people do not use ID. Third, classes, I cannot use that as a link. Okay, classes, I cannot use that as a link, whereas ID I can call as a link over here. I can use that as a link. Right now, since this being a simple website, I'm not actually I cannot give a link over here. But if I have another website, I can actually use that as a link. What I can actually do is just I give a over here, and my href, inside my href, found QWE. Okay, QWE. Okay, oh sorry, it was a, right? QWE. I'll close it. I'll say click here. Now this can act as a link, right? This will take me, if you guys see carefully, right? If you guys see carefully, since there is no movement happening over here, or wait, I'll show you guys. I'll try to declare that to you guys. I'll copy this, I'll paste it, I'll paste it, paste it, paste it. Should be enough. Okay, I have come down. Right, I need more information. So paste, 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 paste. Enough. Okay. Now my link is here. I'm clicking that. It is taking me to this particular location. If you see that, it is actually taking me to that location. Okay, I'll show that to you guys again. I'm clicking this. Okay, I'm clicking it. It took me to this location. So this is the website. This is the line which I want it to be opened. Okay, sorry. This is the line which I want it to be opened. This is the line which I wanted to be opened, which did not open. So I am actually going to do that. Click, took me to this line. So this is what class IDs can do. So I can actually use that as a link. So till now, whatever we discussed, okay, till now, whatever we discussed, do you guys have any doubts, right? Do you guys have any doubts? Any doubts, guys? If any part, okay, Meta is actually used for SEO, which is search engine optimization. I didn't mention that because search engine optimization itself is a vast area. Search engine optimization itself is a vast area, which we will need a lot of time to discuss. Uh, uh, of course, yes, database, you can actually use VS Code to do that. You can actually, in the meantime, you can also use Git, right? You can use Git. Git is a version control system. I'll explain ID once. Okay. I can share the recorded version of this session once after it is done. Uh, okay, okay, right. How to include external CSS, we'll definitely talk about that. Guys, there are like close to around 1,000 of you guys who are actually attending it. The exact number is 836 people who are actually attending it right now. So there are very high chances that I'm actually miss couple of your questions also. So please do not mind. Okay. So you cannot actually, use VC code, as in you cannot do coding on your mobile phone. But someone who wants to actually make, okay, fine. Next question over here. How can you actually make it fix both on your mobile phone and your PC? You actually call that responsive. You try to make your website responsive so that you can actually do that. So right now, responsive is something which we cannot cover. This is going to be the next session that we'll actually cover, where we'll talk about a lot of details and start working on projects, right? We'll start working on projects as well. So you are very much welcome to join that session. uh, okay, so right now let's stop with what we have for HTML and CSS, right? What we have for this HTML and CSS. Let's now go for the next part, which is HTML CSS versus Bootstrap. For all those questions, different people earlier had asked me, what is Bootstrap? What is Bootstrap? Okay, I will tell you guys what is Bootstrap. Very clearly, I'm going to talk. Let me just clear off all the questions which are here. Okay, you want me to mention ID once again. So bear with me, guys. I'll come back. I'll just mention ID again once. Okay. Classes and ID both are going to be almost the same, but they have different personalities and different functions. All right. Now, classes, I can actually use it multiple times, whereas IDs, I can use it only once, which means if I use this particular ID over here, which is, where is it? Yeah. If I use this ID QWE over here in this entire web page, not the website, I'm talking about the entire web page, I cannot use the same ID again, but I can use the same class multiple times. Now, if I want to actually make this particular class font size 20 and color to be, I'll just give some color. Okay, I'll give my hot pink, right? Just give it as hot pink because that was part of the option. If I see all the links, I mean, all the particular class which had ABC has actually, all right, ABC has actually become hot pink. That is a specialty of class, whereas with ID I cannot do that. Since I used ID once, I cannot use the same ID again. So I don't pretty much like this color, so I'm just going to remove this. All right, done. Okay, so we have that. Next part. Next is going to be HTML CSS. In HTML CSS, we people try to use class more than ID, because if I can once declare one particular design to a class, I can start associating it. For example, what I just did with the pink, hot pink version over there, I can use that multiple times. I can use that n number of times. Whereas ID, every time I want a particular ID, I will have to come up with new ID names and do the same coding again and again. So that is a redundant work. So people do not prefer to use ID for that. Class, I cannot use class as a link, because since I'm using class multiple times, right? Many places, since I'm using that many places, I cannot use class as an ID, right? I mean, sorry, class as a link. Whereas ID, since I'm using it only one place at a time in a web page, since I'm using only one page and one place at a time, I can use my ID as a link, just like what I did over here, right? I gave this particular section, this particular ID, ID which was QWE as a particular link. If I click this part, it will take me to this ID. It is taking me over here. See, right now there is that green section is not there. That green section is not there. I'll just click this. It will come. It is taking me to this area, right? I have not mentioned border or anything like that over here, so it will not work. Are we clear with classes and IDs? Are we clear with it, sir? Advanced, since there are a lot of people who do not understand the basic element, we will be moving to the advanced part in the next session only, sir. Right? We'll be talking about the borders, we'll be talking about forms, index, and a lot of other parts as well. Right? The responsive websites and all will come in the next part only. Okay. Now, let's move to the difference over here. Let's move to the difference. Let's understand what is HTML CSS and how is Bootstrap going to help me out over here. All right. So for that, what I'm actually going to do is I'll open another folder. I just have one for an example to you guys. So I'll open this. All right. Let me just clear this, guys, because we had another session earlier this day, so I am using the same file for you guys because it was the same topic. I'll just give me 1 second time. All right. See, Bootstrap is not different, completely different from what you actually see from a HTML or a CSS document. Bootstrap is actually, again, you're coding using HTML and CSS only. It's just that you already have some predefined class which are available. Now that you guys understood what classes are, now in the earlier section, what you guys did was you guys had to design a particular class for a requirement, right? But in Bootstrap, what happens is that they already have some designs made in a particular class and they have kept it. So what we need to do is just to assign that particular class to an element over here. All right. Now we have few questions. Let me just see that. Okay. So let's see this particular part. Now, if I open my website, if I open this, so I have my, if this is clear, this is my H1. All right. So this is my one paragraph and this is my second paragraph. Okay. I have some designs that I need to make. I want to make my this paragraph, this particular content to look like my heading. So, right. These two paragraphs, right, these two lines, which is these two p elements, I want them to look like my heading. This is one example where I'm actually going to show you how efficient is Bootstrap. So for Bootstrap, what you will need to do is very simple. All you will do is linking one particular element over here, one particular CSS element, which is this, right? You have link sheet, right? Done. This particular part. Okay. Where you will get this, you have two options to do it. One, you can actually download that. This is where I said opening this Bootstrap website, right? You can go to this Bootstrap website. You can go to Bootstrap website. You can just oh yeah, go over here, copy this particular part. I'm going to copy that. Once I copy that, I come and paste it on my head. It is as simple as connecting, maybe you know what, connecting one particular CSS file. At the same time, I have connected my own CSS file as well, right? Just to show you guys the difference. Right now, you don't have to do anything. You just copy that from there and just paste it. So that is one way. The other way is nothing but you go to home, right? You go to home over here. You can download CSS, right? You can just download CSS. Automatically it is actually going to get downloaded. So my complete CSS and JavaScript document, I can just click download over here. So it will get downloaded as a zipped file. You can open that, unzip it, and there will be multiple CSS files. I'm not unzipping it right now. So there is multiple CSS files inside that. You will have to link multiple files in that case. All right. So whichever you are comfortable with, you can always go ahead with that particular option. All right. We can always go ahead with that option. How, the certificate will be actually sent you guys at around 7 o'clock. All right. The certificate will be sent you guys at 7 o'clock. If people, you guys, not able to understand, or if you guys find this to be basics, you guys can actually leave. 7 o'clock, you guys will get your certificate. All right. Then people who wants to stay, we will have much more important information which are going to come in the later end of the session. All right. All right. So now I want to actually make this look like a heading, right? I want to make this look like my H1 over here. So what I can do is, first I'll use this using the conventional method, and the second one I'll use using my regular method, my bootstrap method. This is what I'm actually going to do over here. All right. So if I want to make it look, what I'll do is I'll give it a class, right? I'll give it a class. I'll call it as ABC. I'll call it as ABC, and I'll save it. I'll go inside my CSS. I already linked it over there, right? I'll already linked it over there. So okay, I'll call my class ABC. So first I want, so if it is supposed to look like my website, all right, one second. If it is supposed to look like my, where did that come? All right. If this particular line is supposed to look like this, one, the font size is supposed to increase, and second, the thickness is supposed to increase. All right. Both that is what I'm actually going to do. So first I'll call it as font size. Font size, I'll try to give it as around 40 pixel, right? 40 pixel. And to increase the thickness, I give something called as font weight. Okay. Font weight, I'm giving it as 400. Okay. It's just a number. I'm giving it as 400. I'm going and seeing over here. So the font size is enough, but the thickness is not that good. I'll try to make it as 500. Thickness is fine. So see, I spend some amount of time to actually increase this particular, change that particular design over here to look very similar. But whereas for Bootstrap, it is very, very simple for me, right? There is already a class which is predefined. So what I'll do, I'll give it as class, just mention h1, right? Which means I want this element to look like h1. I'll go say done. Work is completed. So I have saved a lot of time over here. I have saved a lot of time. This is why I'm saying Bootstrap, this particular part is already coded. It's already coded and kept in that particular file. You just linking that file. All you'll have to do is remember this particular class. What is this particular class? And you can also remember that class very, very easily. Okay. Now let's say I need to justify these content. All right. I need to justify these contents. These are not justified. So what I can do is I'll call this a different class. I'll name this class as Q, right? I'll just name this as Q. I'll go inside my CSS. I'll call Q. I'll call text align. I'll give justify, save. Now it is justified, right? My content is actually justified over here. Now, once it is actually justified, if I want to do that with Bootstrap, I'll just go over here. I'll call class text justified. Done. Work is completed. So it is all done. So these kind of classes are already being assigned and kept. All you'll have to just do is just fetch them, right? Now text align, if I want to move that to my right, I can again go to CSS and do that. Or if I have to do that using Bootstrap, what I can actually do is call class. I'll call text. I'll call it center. See, this move to the center. Or if I want to move that to my right, I can do that over here. Class text right. This move to my right. The same applies, guys. Now you guys understand what is HTML and what is Bootstrap, the importance over here. So what is your recommendation, guys? What do you guys say? Do you guys think Bootstrap is easy? What is your opinion? What do you guys think? Bootstrap is easy, or do you want to do it completely using HTML and CSS? All right, I didn't understand this question. In Bootstrap, only the code written by as only by. I mean, I didn't understand this question. Can you, I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. Can you ask it again? I can teach you basics of HTML, definitely. Right. So I just gave you guys an orientation about the frameworks and languages over here. Yes, it is very important for us to actually remember. See, I've been actually doing coding for the past 7 8 years right now. From a college second year, I started working on coding and all these things. From my second year, I started working as a freelancer. So as a front end developer, I started, then I learned backend, then database, app development, and all these things I started working on it. So you cannot remember all the classes in Bootstrap. It is very difficult to actually remember. Even the person who invented Bootstrap might not actually know all the classes. So whenever you have some doubts, you can always Google and actually get that. So once you actually understand the box size and all those things, you can actually Google and get those datas over here. So that is regarding HTML and Bootstrap. Let's talk about what is you going to be your career opportunities, right? Let's talk about the career opportunities. If you're going to be a front-end developer, you have two options in front of you. One is a full-time job. If you want to do it as a full-time job, what you can actually do is there are a lot of companies, for example IBM, they recruit people. So as a front-end developer, if they're actually going to recruit, these are the skills that they're looking for. They're looking for HTML CSS. See, IBM is looking for HTML CSS, JavaScript with Angular or React. So any one of this is what they're actually looking for. Now this is Mobiquity. So again, if they're actually looking for front-end developers, they're actually looking for HTML, CSS, they're looking for JavaScript, they're looking for one of these two frameworks, which is Angular or React. So this is what they're actually looking for. So again, JavaScript frameworks, they have different frameworks. So again, React and Angular, which is actually for the front-end part, right? If you're actually going to do as a freelancer, whereas I personally myself, I was a freelancer when I was in my college. So I did my engineering. Again, I'm not a computer science graduate, I am actually from electronics and communication engineering, but I learned front end development, and I started doing different projects across the country, where every month I was earning approximately around 60 to 70,000 rupees is what I was actually earning. Me being from different part of our country, and earning so much money with staying in hostel was definitely a perk, right? It was definitely a perk. I would like to mention something like this. We are doing a particular program, right? We are particular doing a program where we are recruiting candidates into our organization, right? We are recruiting candidates into our organization, get them trained on particular technologies, make them work on multiple projects, right? Make them work on multiple projects and get them deployed as well. This is what we are actually doing over here. So let me just explain that particular program that we are doing over here. So as we are doing this front end program, so I am going to talk about the front end program that we are actually going to do. So during that program, a candidate will learn HTML, CSS completely from scratch, right? Completely from scratch. You will be a very good coder using HTML and CSS, even if you're someone who doesn't know coding at all, right? Even if you're someone who doesn't know coding at all, you will definitely learn HTML, CSS without any problem. You will be taught Bootstrap from scratch, completely from scratch. You will learn how to code using Bootstrap. After that, you will learn JavaScript. Today we did not discuss about JavaScript because of time constraint, because exactly at 6 we have another session starting, so we need to close this. So JavaScript is something that you will definitely learn. And then there is jQuery. Jquery, as I said, there is going to be part of JavaScript again. After that, you will be given a project. See, we as a company, what we actually do is, during this lockdown, we started associating with multiple colleges across the country, and we started helping the students pick up some technology as their skill sets. So other than that, what else we do is nothing but we are associated with more than 88 startups across this particular country, majority of them focused in Bangalore, Chennai, Cochin and Hyderabad. So we are technology partners for those companies. What we do is we help them build these kind of technologies, and we help them with their database management as well. This is what we actually do. So you will work on one of those projects. We have like around 40-50 projects right now, so we are looking for some candidates who could actually help us work on those projects. So you will work with our expert tech team. These are the people who will be teaching you all these technologies. As and when we are actually going to build a particular platform or an application, you will work with them to actually learn this. All right, so how does this program work, right? So first you will register for this program, right? You will say, yes, I want to be part of this particular program. Once you say yes, you will be part of it. Anyone who's interested to actually learn these kind of programs will be accepted. There is no prerequisite saying that you should know coding, only then you can take it, right? There is no coding. There's nothing like that. Even if you're interested to learn coding, you can join. That's not a problem at all. Second part is going to be assigning you a project. Once after you register, we will assign a particular project to you guys, which you will not know which project it is, but only during the later end of your program you will understand which project that you are actually going to work on. So the starting part will completely be focusing on your training part. There will be mentorship where each person, each candidate will be individually mentored by experts. All right, so you can actually reach that particular mentor using your mobile phone. You can call, you can email, WhatsApp, however you please. There will be end-to-end training, as I discussed. You will teach that the person will teach things end to end, completely from basic to advanced. The person will actually teach you. So project reviews, there will be project reviews. Once after that project review is done, you will be getting a certificate. The certificate will be an internship plus project completion certificate. Where you have worked on our project, you will be getting an internship, which will be like around a month long program is what we're actually doing. For a month long program, you will be getting an internship plus a project completion certificate. So both will be one certificate that you are actually going to get. You'll say that this particular person has done a 1 month long internship plus project completion with our organization.